Yo! What is up, YouTube? It's your boy 24 Problems, and today we're finding out why the Clippers dumped Chris Paul.
There's got to be more to this Chris Paul story. You do not just cut maybe the franchise GOAT at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. Remember, he just announced his retirement. This was supposed to be his storybook ending. Instead, he gets sent home in the middle of the night, other side of the country. Something went terribly wrong here. Well, now we know what happened. Reports have come out, but the Clippers are still being mysterious about this when all the signs point to one thing in particular that must have happened. But to put into context how crazy this is, Chris Paul is probably the best player in franchise history, was going to be the first Clipper ever to have his jersey retired, and this is how they treat him. Oh, and he didn't even want this. The Athletic reported this didn't come from Chris Paul at all. I mean, just a few days ago on his IG, he posted talking about how great Lob City was. Like, man, I'm proud to be a Clipper. Then his very next post was, yeah, I just found out I'm being sent home. What happened? But my hometown Houston Rockets really settling in without a point guard. Now, I want to get out of the house, especially with how cold it is outside. And what better place than indoors at a Rockets game?
Yeah, you almost got me, buddy.
We'll work with him on the next step of Well, front office guy Lawrence Frank put out a statement saying, "We are parting ways with Chris. He will no longer be with the team. We will work with him on the next step of his career." So technically, he is not being cut. He's just being sent home while they figure out a trade or possibly a buyout. So this is not the end for Chris Paul. And I want to make one thing very clear. No one is blaming Chris for our underperformance. I accept responsibility for the record we have right now. There are a lot of reasons why we've struggled. We are grateful for the impact Chris has made on the franchise. Oh, he hit him with the "it's not you, it's me." But people are like, I'm genuinely confused on what the Clippers are doing. Or very surprised by the Clippers parting ways with Chris Paul. Really? This is actually what they do to bad old players. Like 2022, traded Eric Bledsoe after half a season, never played an NBA game again. 2023, same with John Wall, never played a game again. 2024, dumped Russ, despite him saying he wanted to continue with the team. In the same year, sent PJ Tucker home, basically never played again. But Chris Paul ain't dumped Russ, despite him saying he wanted to continue with the team. In the same year, sent PJ Tucker home, basically never played again. But Chris Paul ain't done. Wouldn't it be great if OKC signed him and won the title? Then got the Clippers pick after the season. That would be the ultimate slap in the face. But the real comparison here is what they did to the other Lob City legend, Blake Griffin. So Blake signed a max with them summer of 2017, but it wasn't a guarantee. He had meetings with the Suns and the Nuggets all lined up, but he canceled because of the Clippers pitch. Set up a Blake Griffin museum where they had stations set up reminding him of different stages of his life with the Clips, had a fake jersey retirement ceremony, and the shirt. Have you seen this shirt? Employees wore shirts comparing Blake to pioneers like Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, and Gandhi. Basically saying, oh, you're not just one of the most important Clippers ever, you're one of the most important people. So he signed. And a few months later, they were like, never mind, sending you to Detroit. What? What happened to Gandhi? So no wonder Blake refused to shake Steve Ballmer's hand when he returned to LA. This is how they treat franchise legends. So before we get to why Chris was sent home, is it just possible that Steve Ballmer is a bad owner? I mean, think about the decisions he has made. Traded a future MVP and SGA and 8 picks for Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Made an under-the-table shady deal with Kawhi and aspiration that could end in disaster. Has backstabbed both franchise legends. At some point, it doesn't matter how much money you have, especially in this second apron era.
I don't even
if
know,
dude piles on this much proof,
my Clippers shady, bro. Put a one in the chat after my Clippers shady.
But why did they do this now? Why did this happen at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night in Atlanta? Well, we know Chris has looked old, but can you believe that he actually played and started all 82 last year for the Spurs? that would have been an awesome way to retire. But this season, pretty quick, Ty Lue said things are different. CP never got a start, then started getting DNPs by game number 9. Totally healthy, just not playing. Probably pissed Chris off, and weird things started to happen. First, he basically announces a farewell tour without actually saying it. This post says, hey, grateful for this last one, but did you know that Chris has never actually acknowledged this or even spoken to the media since that post? Then last week, he posted this on IG. The definition of leeway. Why? Like, players don't have enough leeway, we need a new coach, or the organization gives Kawhi too much leeway, which we know is the truth? Who knows? But the answer most likely is the coach. When Ty Lue started sitting Chris Paul while healthy, dude had enough. They had such a falling out that ESPN reports the player and coach hadn't spoken in weeks. But meanwhile, Chris was speaking to everyone else in the organization. Remember, this is a team that is a terrible 5-16, and the 12-time All-Star was vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable. And I'm sure that was so much fun. But CP has always been one of the more difficult people to deal with in the NBA. A long history of clashing with teammates and being extremely hard on people around him. From Blake Griffin to DeAndre Jordan to James Harden. Multiple stars have had big issues with his demanding personality. In fact, these are words reporters have used to describe the CP3 experience throughout the years. Woj called him incredibly demanding and unforgiving of mistakes. Zach Lowe said he's brutal and overbearing. Sam Amick called him high maintenance and exhausting. JJ Redick said on his podcast, Chris just rides guys endlessly and is not easy. In fact, DeAndre Jordan, one of the most well-liked, easygoing guys in the NBA, desperately wanted off the Clippers to get away from Chris Paul. Now, the front office guy, Lawrence Frank, just said to the media, there wasn't a single incident that led to the breakup, but that smells like BS. Why? Because of the timing. So, when did this mysterious breakup just happen? Hours after the Clippers got embarrassed in Miami. The Heat went on a 32 run at one point, and the player they stupidly decided to let go, Norm Powell, dropped 30. So they were embarrassed. And right then, I am sure Chris said something to someone. And they were like, you know what? Enough with this guy. I mean, it is one thing if he's the best player on our team to talk like this and kick us while we're down, but to make a miserable season even worse from a bench player, of course that's what happened. It's been his entire career. I'd be shocked if that isn't exactly what happened. Why else would you do this at 3 a.m. at 2,000 miles from home? No particular incident, yeah, right. But still, the Clippers are facing a ton of backlash for this. So what happens next? Well, LA is easily the most disappointing team in the NBA this year. Not only were they expected to do well, but it seems like all of their old guys hit a wall at exactly the same time. They are second to last in the West right now, but their pick is going to OKC. A lot of people talk like trading James Harden is going to do anything, but it won't. The only thing they can do is ride this out until 2027. That is when Kawhi and Harden come off the books, and then they could try to pivot to a new generation. But until then, it is going to be a miserable time as a Clipper fan. And this latest situation, honestly, not a surprise for the most cursed team in the NBA. But what about some good news? Okay, hands down, the breakout player of the season so far is Deni Avdija. Kid's also, by the way, on like the cheapest contract in the league because he was supposed to be a role player. So how did he go from that underrated to the best guy on a team pushing for the playoffs? And
Deni Avdija is overrated, man. Get that out of here, man. Like the vid.